Hare Krishna. We are reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 1st shloka. Yesterday we finished 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So today we'll read one shloka from 4th chapter. You can repeat after me. Śrī Bhagavān uvāca. Imaṁ vivasvate yogam proktavān aham avyayam Vivasvān manave prāha manur ikṣvākave abravīt. पूरा श्लोक में पढ़ूंगा. श्री भगवान उवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवान् अहम् अव्ययम् विवस्वान् मनवे प्राह मनु ikṣvākave abravīt. So Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna about the history of Bhagavad Gita. We think that Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, but that is not so. Here Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna about how old is Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna is saying, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga, which is Bhagavad Gita, to the sun god Vivasvān. And Vivasvān instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind. And Manu in turn instructed it to Ikṣvāku. So here we can see that Arjuna appeared 5,000 years ago, but sun god Vivasvān appeared millions of years ago. So Lord Krishna first instructed the science of Bhagavad Gita to Vivasvān, sun god. Then Vivasvān in turn instructed to his son Manu. And Manu, who is the father of mankind. Here is said Manu, the father of mankind. Actually, the man word is derived from Manu. M-A-N. You see that man? And that is how the man comes. So Manu is the father of man. That is why it's called Manu. And Manu in turn instructed it to his son Ikṣvāku. So this is the history of Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada ji writes here in the purport, herein we find the history of Bhagavad Gita traced from remote time when it was delivered to royal order of all the planets, beginning from the sun planet. The king of all planets are especially meant for the protection of inhabitants, and therefore the royal order must understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizen and protect them from the material bondage to lust. So here Prabhupada is saying that sun god, sun is the king of all the planets. And so it was instructed first to sun god. So he is the king of all the planets. So this Bhagavad Gita was specially meant for the king class or the ruling class or the administrator class. Because yatha raja tatha praja. जैसे राजा रहेगा वैसे ही प्रजा बनेगी, है ना. अगर राजा भगवत गीता में विश्वास करता है तो प्रजा भी भगवत गीता में विश्वास करेगी. If Raja or the king is living as per the principles of Bhagavad Gita, then the ordinary citizens will also follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita. But if the king is corrupt, then nobody is going to read Bhagavad Gita. So that is why Lord Krishna instructed first to sun god Vivasvān. He was the ruling authority of the sun planet. And then all the other planetary royal orders were also ordered to learn Bhagavad Gita. So everybody learned this Bhagavad Gita. Because if Raja or the king knows the Bhagavad Gita science, then they can protect the citizen from the bondage of lust. Further, Srila Prabhupada writes here, human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in the eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the executive head of all the states and all the planets are obliged to impart this lesson to citizens by education, culture and devotion. So here Prabhupada writes a very important sentence. What is the sentence here? The human life is for the cultivation of spiritual knowledge. So human life we get after passing through the yoni of 84 laksha yoni, from animal, insect, bird, reptiles, going through all the yonis, then ultimately we get human life. And what is the purpose of human life? Human life is higher than all the other forms of animal lives. So the purpose of human life is to understand who the God is, what is my relationship with the God, how can I re-establish my relationship with Him. So that is the purpose of human life. And Bhagavad Gita teaches this science to all of us, that how can we establish our relationship with Krishna. And this is the duty of all the citizens to learn the lesson of Bhagavad Gita and follow the instructions of Lord Krishna. Further, Prabhupada writes, in other words, the executive heads of all the states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness, so that the people may take the advantage of this great science and pursue the successful path utilizing the opportunity of human life. So they say that tada tada acharati shrestha, yata yata acharati shrestha tada tada evartaro jana. So whatever the leader will do, the common people will follow. So if the leader is spiritual, the common people will learn the lesson of spirituality. If the father is practicing spirituality, then there is high chance that children will practice. If the father is a smoker, and if he says to the children, do not smoke, then that is no good, because the children are not going to listen. If a doctor is drinking alcohol and he tells to the patient, do not drink alcohol, that will have any impact? So here, that is why Lord Krishna gave Bhagavad Gita science to the king or the leaders of the society. And that is why he is giving again to Arjuna here. Arjuna is also leader of the society. So that is why he is telling it to Arjuna. Further, Srila Prabhupada writes, in this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivasvān, and the king of the sun, which is the origin of all the planets within the solar system. So in a day of Brahma, there are many sun gods come and go. Actually, Lord Brahma's life is very long. Brahma is the creator, and here the reference of Brahma Samhita is given. So in this present millennium, the sun god is Vivasvān. His name is Vivasvān. He's the personality. And then after this millennium is over, then the new sun god will come. Like as the prime minister changes after a few years. Similarly, currently the sun god's name is Vivasvān. And once this millennium is over, then the new sun god will come. Like that. So every millennium new sun god comes. Like that. So in Bhagavad Gita, in Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 52nd shloka, it is mentioned, Yat chakshur esha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta sura murtir asesha tejaha yashya yagna brahmati sambrata kal chakro govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So Brahmaji says, let me worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who is the original person and under whose order the sun, which is the king of all the planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. So, sun god is also following the rules and regulations of Lord Krishna. Sun is the eye of Krishna. You see this here mentioned? Right? Sun is the eye of Krishna. So, sun, moon, all these are energies of Krishna. And this is mentioned also in 10th and 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So here Brahmaji is saying that I am respecting Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person and under whose order the sun, which is the king of all the planets, he is obeying the order of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna's order, and at his order, sun is revolving around everywhere, like that. So in this way, Krishna is the ultimate master of all the planetary systems, right? So sometimes they say that Chandra lag gaya, Mangal lag gaya, Surya lag gaya, Grahan lag gaya. लेकिन अगर आप भगवान कृष्ण को सरेंडर है तो कोई भी ग्रह आपको नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि भगवान कृष्ण ग्रह के सभी के अधिष्ठाता है. कभी लोग मंगल का अंगूठी पहनते हैं, चंद्र का अंगूठी पहनते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप भगवान कृष्ण की सरेंडर में आ गए और भगवान कृष्ण इज लुकिंग आफ्टर यू, देन देयर इज नो चांस एट ऑल. So we'll pause here. We'll read it again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.